Row 18, Arizona's Phil Markdahl and the 21-year-old rookie Robbie Moroso from Connecticut.
This could have been the face of NASCAR in the late 90s and early 2000s. This could have been a multi-time NASCAR champion. This is Rob Moroso, a driver that showed he had unlimited potential and was an unstoppable force on the racetrack. Moroso looked like he was going to tear up the NASCAR Winston Cup scene by the start of the 90s. At only 20 years old and a Busch champion with the support of his father's massive parts business, and with what seemed to be a 20-plus year career in front of him. But what happened to this young man? What happened to a future forgotten by many, but remembered by others? Our story starts not with Rob, but Dick Moroso. Born in Old Greenwich, Connecticut, Dick found success in drag racing. Moroso in his drag racing career won an NHRA national title, which led him into partnering with Hank Dietrich to open Performance Automotive in Stamford, Connecticut. Later on in 1968, Dick founded the business that would bring the most success to him and his family, Moroso Performance Products. In that same year, his son Rob would be born. As Rob grew up, Dick continued to expand his business by purchasing Palm Beach Speedway in 1981 and renaming it to Moroso Motorsports Park. Moroso invested over $100,000 into upgrading the facility, and as the 80s rolled on, young Rob Moroso began his driving career with funding from his father's business. Rob graduated from high school and began courses at a local community college. However, he would flunk out to pursue his racing career and attend the Buck Baker Racing School. After dropping out and attending Baker's Racing School, Rob and his father entered into a Busch race at Orange County Speedway in September of 1986, only 2 days after his 18th birthday. Moroso started 6th but ended the day early with a suspension issue. In Moroso's second start, however, he would drive for Rick Hendrick in the number 15 car at Rockingham. In his second start, Moroso finished 18th 5 laps down. In 1987, Moroso committed to running the whole season, and only missed races at Hickory and Dover. Moroso ran alright in his rookie year in the Busch Series, claiming 2 top 5s at IRP and Oxford Plains and 8 top 10s. In 1988, Moroso finally started every race and picked up his first victory at Myrtle Beach. Moroso ran good all year, and with a second win at Charlotte later in the year, and a second place in the season finale, it propelled him to second in points behind Tommy Ellis by year's end. In 1989, Moroso showed off his talents. 4 wins in the season, coming at Rockingham, Volusia, and both Charlotte races, along with 12 top 5s, 16 top 10s. Moroso was in a dogfight for the championship. Coming into the last race of the season at Martinsville, Moroso was only 19 points back from Busch Series legend Tommy Houston, and still had Tommy Ellis and L.D. Ottner hot on his heels for the title as well. In a classic hard-nosed day at Martinsville, Moroso drove his way to a championship by finishing 3rd and having Tommy Houston experience engine problems with less than 30 to go. After his championship, it was now time for Moroso to go to Cup. $1990 was the year, a new decade and a new chapter in the Moroso family, as it was time for this hot prospect to hit the big time. When the Moroso team got to Daytona for Speed Weeks, everything started off on the right foot. With a qualifying speed that locked him into the show, the team didn't have to worry about racing into the 500 with a good finish in the duels. Only 9 laps into Rob's duel, he DNF'd with a transmission problem. This led to him starting on the grid 36th for the 1990 Daytona 500. Moroso raced hard for the opening laps before getting involved in a 4-car wreck in Turn 1, ending his day early. Following a rough Speed Weeks, the team traveled to Richmond. Moroso qualified 9th and brought the car home 15th, 3 laps down. In the 3rd race of the season, Moroso again qualified 9th, but had engine problems, ending his day prematurely in 30th. In Atlanta, things wouldn't get better, as yet another engine issue plagued the 20 team. At Darlington, Moroso would be involved in a large crash in turn 4, taking him out once again. After 5 races, Moroso had DNF'd already 4 races, and the trend would continue as once again Moroso would be crashed out early and DNF a 5th time in 6 races. Things got even worse at North Wilkesboro, as Moroso wouldn't even make it to lap 10 before being taken out in a crash. Finally, as the team went to Martinsville for race 8, Moroso qualified 10th and ran a clean race, finishing 13th. Moroso, who was currently 28th in points, was struggling still to find any momentum, as heading to Talladega, the team would once again be out of the race before halfway. Moroso went to Charlotte the following week for race 10 with Hope, a track that he won at 3 consecutive times. He was sure that this could be his turning point, but once again, the engine let go.
Will be the 15th machine to not stand the strain. And now here comes Moroso, the rookie, in car number 20. Robbie Moroso's car, running in 18th position, drops to the bottom of the racetrack.
In the first 10 races of the year, Moroso had only finished 2 races, but the 2 he did finish were respectable results. After another engine failure at Dover and crashes at Sonoma and Pocono, they finished their 3rd race of the year at Michigan with another solid 16th place run. After Michigan, they finally stringed together 2 good runs with a 9th at Daytona. Things were possibly starting to look up, but once again, a crash at Pocono stumped all the momentum. However, at Talladega, the team pulled off another 12th place run, then a 13th at Watkins Glen. The team finally was starting to string together good runs and was beginning to facilitate the crashes and engine problems that troubled them so much earlier in the season. Another finish at Michigan and a 13th in the Southern 500 made it seem like the good was starting to outweigh the bad. However, a rash of crashes at Richmond, Dover, Martinsville, and North Wilkesboro stumped everything gained in the summer, and the team was once again wondering what could be happening. After another poor race at North Wilkesboro, the 22-year-old rookie drove to a local restaurant that he was known as a regular at and called friend Barry Dodson, expressing his disappointment with his season. Dodson, concerned with how Moroso was, met him at the restaurant and noticed how down and out he appeared to be. The torturous season had been rough on Moroso. A driver who was so used to winning and finding success was now not only struggling on the track, but off the track as well. Moroso already had a previous history of difficulty off the racetrack in his personal life, with multiple priors for speeding and driving on the wrong side of the road, and 2 traffic accidents in 1988, with one of them resulting in a vehicle turning over. In the previous 3 years, Moroso had 3 opportunities to get his license revoked, with them being getting caught going 16 plus miles an hour over the speed limit, being convicted of speeding excess of 55 miles an hour twice within a year, and having enough penalty points on his license within that 3-year span to get it revoked. However, it never was. District Judge William Scarborough granted Moroso a, quote, prayer for judgment continued on his conviction, withholding the necessary penalty points to withdraw his license. After a few more beers and a talk with fellow friends and drivers, Moroso agreed to meet at the Pier Lounge near Mooresville. Moroso got in his car with his girlfriend at the time, 26-year-old Debbie Smith, and began the journey to the Pier's Lounge. At 11:20 p.m. that night, Moroso lost control of his car as he was traveling through a bend at 75 miles an hour and slid driver's side first into the front of a 1987 Toyota Celica, driven at the time by 27-year-old Tammy Williams. A mother of 2 and a nurse assistant from China Grove, North Carolina, both Moroso and Williams were declared dead at the scene, with Moroso's girlfriend and the passenger in Williams' car both surviving with significant injuries. Moroso's death was a shock for all of NASCAR and Moroso's family, as both Dick and Rob had been very close through Rob's driving career. When the crash investigation was over, it was announced that Moroso had over double the legal limit blood alcohol content in his system while he was driving, and that he was going 75 miles an hour in a marked 35 zone. The team ran the rest of the season with a variety of drivers, and Dick Moroso continued to own his own Cup car part-time till the end of 1994. Rob Moroso had all the potential in the world, but after a difficult rookie year, he made one of the worst decisions that anyone could ever make. Many ask of what could have been of Rob Moroso's career. What would NASCAR look like today if he had never drove drunk that fateful night? But the real forgotten future isn't about how many championships or wins he could have had, but instead, if those two sons were able to see their mother come home, if they were able to grow up with a mother instead of having to live without one.